Ivan, it's a week to go before President Arroyo delivers what is supposedly her last State of the Nation address. Tonight, we conclude our pre-SONA analysis on President Arroyo's performance based on her 10-point agenda with the slogan, Beat the Odds.
Well, did she really beat the odds? And what legacy will President Arroyo leave her successor? Her final grade from Professor Winnie Monsod.
Last week, we started evaluating the performance of the President on her Beat the Odds desired legacy to the Filipino people as listed in her medium-term Philippine Development Plan. We've finished with BEAT, B for balanced budget, E for education for all, A for automated elections, and T for transport and digital infrastructure. Now let's examine the rest of her Beat the Odds plan. T for terminating NPA-MILF hostilities. The target is that peace will have come to Mindanao and all insurgency areas by 2010. Well, obviously here there can be no quibbling. This just has not happened. Unfortunately, there is no quantitatively measurable way of determining how far along we are on the road to peace. I'll go the middle way between her critics and her supporters and give her a 50% grade in recognition of the administration's efforts and negotiations. Pasang-awa. Now H is for healing the wounds of EDSA. The MTPDP lists the following action plan. 1. Accelerate compensation to victims of human rights violations. No action here, folks. 0. 2. Consult people nationwide regarding their views on how to pursue reconciliation and national unity. This has not been done, so grade of 0. 3. Provide safe venues where both sides can interact, both oppressor and victim. Again, not done. 0. Pursue reforms in the military. Attempts have been done to do this, and one would think that there would be some kind of result, maybe 30%. Done. 5. Design and implement creative approaches for handling conflicts involving leading figures of the administrations deposed on February 1986 and in January 2001. Very little done here. The 6th was implement effective national security reforms with a balanced focus on both internal and external concerns. This is not relevant for us. The result of all this is a grade of 30 divided by 5, which means a grade of 6. Now for E. E is for electricity and water for all. According to the plan, power and water shall have been regularly provided to the entire country. Where do we stand? The most recent statistics show that around 80% of households have access to safe water and about the same percentage, 81%, have access to electricity. With respect to water, the progress has been at snail's pace, an accomplishment rate of 5%. With respect to electricity, if the metric we use is the percentage of barangays energized, this percentage went up from 89% at the end of 2003 to 98% at the end of 2008. So there is every chance to achieve 100% by next year. That corresponds to a grade of 100. But if we use the internationally used metric of percentage of households with access to electricity, that unfortunately has not increased over the past 5 years. That means a grade of 0. 100 plus 0 divided by 2 is 50 for electricity. Plus 5 for water divided by 2, you get an average of 27.5. That's what she gets for the E. Now let's go to the odds. O for opportunity to create 10 million jobs. Will she have created 10 million jobs between 2004 and 2010? The answer is no. Let's see why. The MTPDP projected that anywhere from 3.3 to 3.9 million of those 10 million jobs would be created this year and next year. So we have to remove that from the 10 million to find out how she has performed so far. That leaves 6.1 to 6.7 million new jobs that should have been created over the period 2004 to 2008. How many new jobs were actually created? Per data from the NSO, 2.8 million additional jobs were created, which means that the President accomplished between 42 to 46% of her target employment, which again means that the administration's grade is 44. Now, the 2 Ds for decongesting Metro Manila and developing Subic-Clark hub. Decongestion of Metro Manila, according to the MTBDP, will be accomplished, among others, by A, establishing new centers for government. That's a grade 0. B, the North Rail project. Experts again estimate a 10% completion rate. So grade is 10. Likewise, for the South Rail project, accomplishment rate is actually less than 10%, considering that so far only the Caloocan-Alabang portion is finished. Grade is 5. C, improved transport within Metro Manila. Experts give this an accomplishment rate of 90%. So adding these 3 sub-targets and dividing by 3, 90 plus 10 plus 5 divided by 3, the grade for decongesting Metro Manila is 35%. How about developing the Clark-Subic corridor, which includes the creation of Hong Kong or Singapore-type enclaves? Well, the Subic-Clark Expressway is completed beautifully, and that is 100% grade. But creating the most competitive Hong Kong or Singapore-type enclaves is another matter altogether. At most, 30% of that has been achieved, and therefore the average for the 2 is 65. If these 10 points were subjects, the Arroyo administration would have passed 1 with flying colors, 2 by the skin of its teeth, another 2 with a low pass, and 5 with failing miserably. Her general average would be 50 is the passing mark. The question that seems to be in the minds of a lot of people is whether A, she should be kicked out, or B, she should be made to repeat the course. But aside from the legacy she wanted to leave behind, President Arroyo will also have to answer for 3 perhaps unintended legacies. 1 is the increase in corruption. 2 is the increase in human rights violations. And the 3rd is the increase in the bureaucracy and the overall demoralization of the civil service. That is going to be on her conscience. Just remember, no issue is either too big or too small to affect you. Be informed, ask questions, and together, let's find the answers. Email us. I'm Winnie Monsod on Q.